It's your boy Sam back here with another video, and in this video today, guys, we're going to be doing a tier list of the diamond tier in NBA 2K24 MyTEAM. A tier which right now, I gotta say, there's not that many players. I think there's 15 total diamonds in my team as it stands right now. But it's pretty top heavy. Like, there's not that many bad cards at the diamond tier. Now, for this, we're going to do only 5 tiers, so no F tier, because I don't think there's a diamond that is quite F tier. Although there are some that I do not necessarily love in my team. Now, just remember, if a diamond is in B tier, that doesn't mean they're a bad card. That just means for the diamond tier, they're not quite to that next level of good. So if you see your favorite card in B tier, don't be like, Ty doesn't know what he's talking about. Just be like, that's who Ty prefers. Kyrie Irving, maybe my favorite point guard in the entire game. Maybe. I'm going to go A tier. Look, I love Kyrie Irving more than the average person. Why? I like his release. I like the fact that he's got play badge. I just like overall what Kyrie Irving does give me on the court. Now, that's just me and my personal opinion. Some people wouldn't even have Kyrie as a top 3 or 4 point guard in the entire game. That's some people. For me, I love him. His release is on the slower side of things when it comes down to it, but it's super easy to time and super easy to green. Even when I play, let's say, tournaments or wagers on Hall of Fame difficulty, I know if Kyrie is wide open, he is not going to miss. He greens literally every shot for me. And again, at the end of the day, I got to give credit where it's due if Kyrie Irving is going to be playing at that elite level for me specifically. Again, a lot of you guys might not have him at A tier, but for me and what I've seen and what I've done with Kyrie Irving, I think I have to have him at A tier, and I can't go any lower than that. Carmelo Anthony up next. You guys are going to hate me. I don't see how he goes any ahead of B tier. And look, Carmelo Anthony offensively is absolutely outstanding. But this year, he's only 6'7". In past years, he was 6'8". You look at the card's defense, not great. I just think there are way better small forwards in my team than Carmelo Anthony. He's fine. If you want to run Carmelo Anthony, he's probably, I don't know exactly, but probably definitely like a top 3 or 4 small forward in the entire game. It just comes down to this. The small forward position right now, I like pure locks. Melo's not that. So then I think, okay, you got to run him at power forward, and he's just, in my opinion, not as good as some other guys. I'm putting Melo at B tier. I'm not in love with the card. Tim Duncan, I'm throwing at B tier as well. I said it when the cards came out that neither Tim Duncan nor Carmelo Anthony were worth the ultimate lock-in, and I still agree with that. Both the cards are fine. Both the cards are definitely usable, but I do not recommend locking either of them in for you and your specific squad. Tiny Archibald up next. He's our first D tier card. For Tiny, look, he does nothing for you on the court. He has a 73 ball. He's small. He can't really, he can move, but it's like he's so small, his defense is bad as well. I just don't see it with Tiny. If he's your favorite card, and again, do what you guys have to do. Don't let me be the one to tell you can't run him. But is he worth grinding collector level 4? Absolutely not. If you get him, he doesn't even play because you have probably all the other cards in the game to even get him. You're a card collector. You're going to have other great point guards. Dwayne Wade up next. I'm going to put him at A tier. With Wade, he gives you something different at the point guard position, right? At the point guard position, you're going to have a lot of guys that are kind of, I don't want to say one-trick ponies, but you're going to have a lot of guys that do one thing on the court. Dwayne Wade does a lot for you. Offensively, he's not a 300, so at the shooting guard position, if you run Wade at the point guard position, you're going to have to run a shooting guard that can get you an absolute bucket. I do think he's A tier with what he gives you on the court. Absolutely incredible. Luka Doncic up next, he's D tier. I don't know who needs to hear it. Luka Doncic is absolutely horrible in my team. And if you want to hype up Luka, go for it. But I'm just not that high on the card. He's fine. You can use him and have a lot of success with him because he is a diamond at the end of the day. And badge-wise, he's incredible. But when you look up here at the diamonds, in my opinion, he's even worse than Tiny Archibald for his position. That's how bad Luka Doncic is. Release isn't good. There's just nothing good when I see Luka Doncic. Badge-wise, he's fine. I will say that. Badge-wise, I guess he's good. But when you look at the overall card, there's nothing, in my opinion, that he does at a high enough level for me to be like, wow, you should definitely pick up Luka Doncic. Like, he's fine. You can use him. You can have success with him. But not a card that I'm just really super high on. Steph Curry up next. I prefer Wade and Kyrie. I'm going to throw Steph at B tier. A lot of people love Steph as their favorite point guard in my team. And you know what, guys? That is perfectly fine. That is perfectly fine. I've got no issue with that at all. If you want to talk about Steph as your favorite point guard in the game, I don't have an issue with it, because at the end of the day, it is all preference. And for me, I have way more success with Dwayne Wade and Kyrie Irving than Steph Curry. When Steph Curry's on the court for me, I feel like I stink, man. I can't shoot the ball that well with him. I feel like Hall of Fame range is broken this year. So I'm just not a big fan of Steph. Maybe it's one of those things that once 2K figures out what they want to do with range extender without patching the game anymore, I'll start liking Steph Curry. But as it stands right now, I can't go any higher than B tier. Shawn Marion, we're going to go C tier. He's better than Luka. He's better than Tiny Archibald, but I'm just not a really big fan of the card. Yes, I do like Carmelo Anthony over Shawn Marion for anybody asking, because at least Melo gives you that offense. Shawn Marion offensively, in my opinion, is kind of a liability on the court. A lot of people are going to be like, Ty, his release is quick. Ty, he's not that bad. Okay, look. If somebody shows me in a competitive type level game, and that's what I'm talking about, that Shawn Marion is great, then I'll believe it. Because I'm already knowing in Unlimited, he's not better than Melo. Unlimited is ran by 300s. He's not going to be better than Carmelo Anthony. So maybe at that comp level he could be, but I still have a hard time believing that because he's not super tall. Offensively, he's extremely limited. His free throw is basically impossible to green with what it is. I'm just not going to sit up here and hype up a Shawn Marion card. Chris Bosh up next. I'm going to throw Chris Bosh at A tier. Now, there's going to be a lot of people out there that are mad that Chris Bosh is ahead of Tim Duncan. And look, I get it. But at the end of the day, even though Chris Bosh's release does stink, he gives you the threat of the three-point ball. He does. No matter what you think of Chris Bosh's release, you have to at least somewhat guard it. Because if somebody is wide open and they're decent at the game, they're going to green more wide opens with Chris Bosh than they are going to miss with Chris Bosh. And if you look at what else Chris Bosh does on the court, it's not like he's a pure stretch big man. His rebounding's good. He's going to compete against the Shaqs of the world. He's not going to get mashed. Chris Bosh is not just, he can shoot the ball and that's it. He's a complete center in my team. Power forward if you want to run him there. And that's another thing I like him over Tim Duncan for is I could run Chris Bosh at power forward. I cannot run Tim Duncan at power forward. That simple, that easy. Chris Bosh, A tier. Shaquille O'Neal up next, S tier. And I'm just going to throw Wilt up there as well. Wilt and Shaq are your two best centers right now in my team. No matter which one you guys prefer, because I think it's close. I do like Shaq's player build a little more. Wilt has the stats. They are both, in my opinion, S tier right now as I'm recording this. Now, as I'm recording this, I have yet to use Wilt Chamberlain. I'm low-key grinding for him, but, I mean, it's not like I'm buying the levels for him. I'm going to eventually get him, but it's just a matter of I don't feel like buying him straight away. Both those cards are absolutely elite. Again, between them, it is ultimately preference-based. If you prefer Shaq, cool. If you prefer Wilt, cool. I got no issues either way. But both those cards, I do think, as it stands right now, are the best bigs in the game. Can you make the debate that Chris Bosh is up there? Sure. But I do think they've separated themselves into S tier. Michael Jordan up next, and here's the tough part. Because I think my MJ might be the best overall card in the game. He's got to be S tier too. A lot of people are going to be like, Ty, MJ's not that good. Is Michael Jordan offensively the best shooting guard in the game? No, he's not. Offensively speaking, give me Brandon Roy every day of the week over Michael Jordan. And speaking of Brandon Roy, I just realized I left him off this list. So here's what I'm going to say, okay? MJ, S tier. Brandon Roy, A tier. That's how I would break things down with this because I do like MJ more than Brandon Roy, but I think it's only a 1 tier difference. So that's what I would do. That's where I would go. MJ, S tier. Brandon Roy, A tier. Now let's talk about Brandon Roy and why I do think he is absolutely elite as well. Brandon Roy, gonna give you a little more shooting ability than Michael Jordan. His defense is still solid, but it's not MJ level. And the reason I like MJ so much is because he is the best overall defensive player in the game. That's why I'm super hype about Michael Jordan in my team. It's not the offense. It's not the driving dunk. He's the best defender in my team. And for me, I love defense. That is why MJ is at S tier. SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander up next, S tier. He's your best overall point guard in my team. Again, I don't have SGA. It's gonna take people a while to get him, but I do believe he is overall the best point guard in my team. That's my firm belief. Because here's the deal, okay? He's 6'6". His defense is going to be absolutely elite because he's 6'6". His offense is great because he has a good release. And he's going to be able to defend at a high level because he's 6'6". There's nothing wrong with SGA in my team. You're overall best point guard in my team. Gordon Hayward up next. I'm not buying the Gordon Hayward hype. I'm sorry. Again, Brandon Roy, I'd have an A tier. I mean, Gordon Hayward's not bad though, man. He plays defense. I'm still gonna put him at B tier. I'm not buying the Gordon Hayward hype as of now. If he ends up being better than Brandon Roy, I'll admit it to you, but he's definitely not as good as Michael Jordan. He's definitely not. So I'm gonna throw him at B tier. Could be A tier as in Gordon Hayward. Kevin Durant up next. I mean, he's S tier. No matter what type of thing I want to say about Kevin Durant not being worth it, he is ultimately S tier when it comes down to diamonds. If you want the most complete small forward in the game, Kevin Durant is that. Now, I will say with that, if you want a pure lock, that's not KD. That's Scottie Pippen, okay? But if you want the best overall small forward in the game, it is Kevin Durant. That's going to wrap it up for our diamond tier list. Again, I would have Brandon Roy at A tier. It's pretty top heavy. Got to be honest with you. It is pretty top heavy, but as it stands right now, I don't think I can move anyone lower. Drop a like on it. Subscribe if you're new. And as always, man, I love you guys. And have a blessed day.